Yeah, we're married.
Yeah.
Oh, she's out fighting crime right now.
Yeah, exactly.
She's not here.
It's his girlfriend from Canada. You don't know her. She's busy right now. Here, I will call her right now, and you can... Oh, I went to voicemail. She must be fighting Kite Man or something. I will tell her that you were asking about her. Yes, hello, this is Catwoman. That's my Bruce Wayne pretending to be Catwoman, by the way.
Come on and visit for any occasion. Don't keep patting down waiting. Comics and conversation. Keep the conversation moving along. Keep bringing comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers. And now, here are Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
Okay, you heard that beep, right?
I heard a beep.
Okay, so we both heard that beep, so hopefully this one works.
I hope so. I don't want to do 2 every week, no offense.
Right? And just like last week, we're choosing to not turn the air conditioning off because it can get a little bit stifling. You know how hermetically sealed these recording studios are.
Yeah, if we turn the AC off, there's no oxygen pumping into the room, and we would probably not make it a full hour of a recording. It's not that big a studio.
I love the fact that we can be oxygenless and completely sealed in, yet there's still the potential of hearing fireworks from the outside.
Sure.
Or
other popping noises.
Because A, it's still light outside,
Yeah.
and B, it's July 6th. So of course there are people lighting off fireworks.
Yeah, in general, it's 3 days before and 5 days after 4th of July that
Yep.
you can expect people to have fireworks.
So if you can hear the vents rattling, know that we're still alive. If you can hear, I can't think of a good line from the Star Spangled Banner.
If you can see any red glare,
That's fine.
or bombs bursting in air.
Bombs bursting in air is what I was going for, but I just didn't care to think through enough of it in my head to get it out there.
So much for patriotism.
Which really sets the standard for the level of quality that we're going to have on this episode of Contest of Challengers here on the Yak Channel Podcast Network in Chicago, wherein we discuss all things comical book related and commerce driven. I wanted to get that one right to the point.
Okay.
I think I summed it up,
Succinct.
nice and tight in a little ball. And I just realized there were things I was going to tell you before we started recording that aren't necessarily podcast appropriate, and by the time we finish, I'll have forgotten them.
Probably.
So everybody wins. I wanted to mention something this week before we get into the meat of it, which I don't even know how much meat it is anymore. It's more like gristle at this point.
All the meat's off the bone, Patrick.
But as you, Dal, and you, listener, are aware, we have a lot of contact with other retailers during the span of a week. In fact, today I was communicating with Chris Brady out of Four Color Fantasies in Rancho Cucamonga, California, because by him today it is 121 degrees.
Yeah, we had our heat wave last week.
Yeah, I like that it just kept
Speaking
going.
of heat wave, he was in Mission Impossible too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because he's Australian. So this is in the year 2000 when he's still just like a stunt guy in Australia before he became like a North American actor. But I saw him in the background of Doug Ray Scott's crew.
Oh, just a crew member, not a...
I don't think he has any dialogue.
No, it's too bad.
Since I'd seen him in other TV shows before The Flash, I was like, oh, it's Heatwave. It's Mick Rory. There he is. He's got hair, but that's him.
That'd be weird. Mick Rory with hair. Not a lot, I'm assuming.
When he was John Doe on the Fox TV show John Doe, he had hair.
Oh.
So that's why I recognized him a little bit. Plus, I don't know if you remember Blade 3 at all, but he was the villain in Blade 3.
I don't remember that. I do remember that Danny John Jules was in Blade 2.
Mm.
And I remember that Hannibal King and Jessica Biel were in...
Yeah, Whistler's daughter.
There you go. Was John Doe from Philadelphia?
No.
So it's not a crossover, that HBO show?
I don't think
John from Philadelphia?
No.
Okay. Was it Cincinnati or Cincinnati?
Cincinnati.
Okay, so maybe John Doe was from Philadelphia.
The John from Cincinnati was because he was supposed to be Jesus Christ.
I see. I don't get the Cincinnati reference, but I don't have to.
JC.
Oh, I get it.
It was not a completely coherent TV
Like
show.
JC Auto.
Sure.
Got it. Anyway, sometimes when retailers are interacting, I can't help but feel that you and I are in a different industry than they are.
It's rare to talk to somebody where you feel like their concerns are your concerns when you come to comics retail. It's even the people who feel strongly about something in the same way as other retailers don't necessarily have all of the same feelings. Like, one of the strengths of the comics industry is that there's really no wrong way to do it. You can come at it any way you want and focus on whatever part of the comics industry you feel like you could do best with. The flip side of that is that there's a limitless number of ways to do it right.
Or
so everybody's
to do it.
Well, so everybody's got their own specific thing that they're after in the comics industry, and there's a lot of overlap types of stores, but even within those kind of, pie slices of a specific kind of comic shop, those guys don't all agree. So yeah,
definitely not.
When it comes to a huge seismic thing in the comics industry, pro or con, you're going to have any number of different reactions to it.
And there are a lot of stores that are like-minded to ours, and there are retailers that we respect that we look at the things they do and say, man, I wish that would work for us, or I wish we could do stuff like that. And that's the kind of thing that'll always challenge us and keep us moving forward and help us want to do better. But then there are retailers who think that it's their way or nothing,
Sure.
and every other way is wrong.
Yeah.
Now,
and honestly, sometimes we've worked with some people who feel that way, and I mean, some of it comes from a place of they've had success. They've done it their way. Their way has worked really, really well, so they don't understand why other people wouldn't just do it their way. The proof is in the pudding. They can point to their success and go, this way works.
sure.
Do that. It's obvious. Why are you questioning me? Why are you fighting me on this?
But then there are the retailers that have an idea of the way things are supposed to be, and if creators or publishers don't go along with that, their attitude is, can't you see that you're wrong, and your thing won't sell in my store because of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a specific instance that came up this week that we're going to discuss, and I'm going to try to guide you into it gently, which always works really well, especially in an audio capacity.
Sure.
But you did just see me shift the spinner rack we have in our recording studio, so a specific side is facing you.
Okay.
Now, we'll get to that in a moment, and I understand, listener, you can't see it, but you don't have to. Dal, what is the right way to design a comic book cover?
So for a lot of stores, they display things in a waterfall rack system. So a lot of stores have a belief that the title and issue number of a comic book should be in the top third of the cover, no matter what. No matter how you're designing your cover, the top third of a comic is what's going to be visible in their store, so people need to be able to look at it and go, it's X-Men Grand Design number 2 from Marvel. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, Dal, you're in the ballpark, and you're half right, but what do a lot of stores do that you would never conceive of?
Do they fan them out?
So what is the right way to design a cover?
Title at the top, issue number in the upper left-hand corner.
Where should the logo be?
I mean, in the top third, like this, it should be centered. It should be the width of the comic, or almost the entire width of the comic.
Where should it never be?
On the bottom.
Or...
Oh, on the upper right-hand corner.
Yes. So there was a retailer, and it's not that I'm not naming him to keep him, like, so we don't cause any problems. I legit don't remember who or what store. But he was very concerned with the way that...
It was Thomas Midtown from Midtown Comics.
Oh, no.
Oh, Thomas. You've done it again.
I thought it was Thomas Middleditch from Midtown Comics. Is that not Middleditch Comics? Is that a... that's more of a...
There's got to be one out there somewhere.
Right? Complaining about logos that are not either centered or to the left, because don't these creators know we have to fan everything out because there's so much product we don't have enough room?
We don't have to do that.
If your logo is on the right, let's say, and I'm... this was not the book mentioned, but we happen to have a perfect example right here.
Right.
Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, specifically number 9, has the DK3 in the upper right corner. So if we were fanning these covers, nobody would ever know what this is, and it wouldn't sell. No one would ever buy it. Don't they know that doesn't work? And, to make matters worse, he has personally contacted a creator involved and said, you shouldn't do this, it hurts sales in my store. And by the third issue, the creator hadn't changed the placement of the logo, so he doesn't care, so why should this guy support that guy's books?
It's so interesting how comics cover design and marketing work, because if you look at like a traditional bookstore, the kind that have been around for, decades, if not hundreds of years, there's kind of a way to do graphic design and cover design. Like, new books are going to be face out for a little while.
A month, a couple weeks.
Yeah, depending on the popularity of the book.
And depending on
and the promotion.
How much more books are coming out in the coming weeks.
Yeah. You know, a new... I don't know what's hot anymore. So, you know, a new Harry Potter book would have been full-faced for a while because a lot of people are going to be coming in over weeks to get those books, while a lesser author or something that doesn't take off...
That doesn't land with me. I don't know what that property is.
Wouldn't necessarily be on display for longer than a week, you know?
Yeah.
Because that space is going to go to a different book. And then after that, they go spine out in a variety of different sections, but spine out. That's it. That's how books are displayed. If you go into any Barnes & Noble, any independent bookstore... It's kind of it.
Let's say a volumes book cafe.
Yeah, some people like there's usually tables or shelves that have them face out, and then everything else is going to be on a variety of bookshelves where books live. Again, everywhere you go, there's only that way to display books. But with comic books, and shit, even with graphic novels, but that's a different story. With comic books, there seems like an endless variety of ways to display them. We display all of our stuff full-faced. But full-faced with older issues just behind it on the shelf. So, you know, in general, if you go into the store and we've got, you know, Batgirl 24, Batgirl 23 is going to be behind it, 22 behind that, 21 behind that, and so on. But other stores will do it, well, like I said, waterfall racks, where the front shelf is going to be full-faced, but then the shelf behind that's going to be on a slightly higher level, and all you'll see
4, 5 shelves behind
is the top third of the book, and then behind that another top third, and so on. So the shelves behind it, really, you only see that top section. Some people also fan stuff. So whether you're full facing it, so only the farthest right book you can see the full face of.
Just in case you don't know, fanning means overlapping.
Yeah, I was going to explain.
I'm sorry.
So that you'll see the full face, and then the book to the left will just be a tiny sliver of the full left side, maybe an inch or so, depending on how much they're fanning it. It could be 2/3 of the cover. It could be, you know, literally like a fraction of the cover. Or some people fan and use waterfall racks. So, you know, the front shelf will be fanned out, and then the shelf behind it will be fanned out, and you'll only see the top third. So a book that's, you know, in the middle of that second shelf, you might only see, like, the upper, you know, 1 inch by 1 inch of the cover.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see the logo. Like, that's it. Or the company logo, I should say. The DC slug.
Which is why DC has started putting symbols in the upper left corner, so you could see what family of book it's from, even if you can't see the full title.
But when it comes down to it, that means that I mean, right now I've just named 3 major ways that you can display books, all of which need different kinds of cover design to best sell them. Stores that like us that full face our comics, you can basically, you know, design whatever you want. The more creative, the better, because it's going to pop off the shelves. For a while, you know, the Jonathan Hickman style of cover design was super evocative. Like, the second you saw it, you're like, oh, this looks really interesting. What is this?
Yeah.
You know, the DC Virgin trade dress stuff works fine for us because you've got this very strong, iconic image. And then at the bottom, it'll say, like, Catwoman 1, Jones, all red.
Well, that was a point that I wanted to get to next, was these DC B covers that they don't have any trade dress.
Mm-hmm. Which fans
seem to love them. Yeah, literally, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah.
So how do these stores handle that?
We definitely carry more of those than we did when it was with the full trade dress.
Yeah.
On it. They just look cool. And I mean, I don't collect those things, but if I was someone who was just picking one of the 2 off the shelf, I don't know which one I'd pick sometime. Like for Catwoman #1, you know, Joelle Jones does this main cover that's cool, but kind of, I don't love the logo and I don't love the word balloons.
Yeah, it's not the logo that they showed us it was going to be either.
But then you've got this art germ cover that's the new costume. It's this whole cool design. It's just a very strong image. So if I were picking one of the 2, no offense to Joel, I'd probably pick the art germ cover. I just think it's the stronger of the 2 covers. And you see the stuff that, like, you know, Jenny's been doing with Wonder Woman now that she's kind of got the whole page to work with.
Yeah.
They look very cool. They look a lot cooler than, you know, Emmanuel Lupacino or whoever's doing the Wonder Woman cover for that issue. Like, yeah, absolutely.
You know, I got to tell you, for Mr. Miracle, I've always been buying the B cover because it's Mitch Strauss who does the insides, and I just want his covers because he does the book.
We've got a few subscribers that do that.
Yeah, and if he was the A cover, I'd be getting that. I'm getting his cover.
Sure.
But now that they've taken off the trade dress, I'm like, what's wrong with this? Why is it different? It's confusing me. And
Sure, because it didn't say Mr. Miracle real big at the top.
Right, and it doesn't have the, basically the issue, I had to hunt for the issue number.
Yeah.
Like, which issue is this? Because I was a couple behind.
Sure.
And, like, when Viz changed the size of the Ronmo 1/2 trades in the middle of the printing, I'm like, I don't like this because now my collection is not symmetrical. It's not
another
uniform.
thing to consider about cover design when it comes to comic shops, and one thing that I didn't touch on before because honestly it's not a big part of our business, is when the books go in back issue boxes. Having the issue number and the title real big in the top third is great when you're flipping through back issues because you're only going to see like the top half of the book.
Yeah, it's almost if it's a waterfall.
Yeah, so when the number's on the back of the book or when everything's real small at the bottom, it can be difficult for stores to file stuff. It can be difficult for customers to find stuff in the box to know what they're looking at if they didn't remember, oh, that cover design that came out 2 years ago had the number here and the title here, as opposed to every other way you would do it. So that's the thing where it doesn't affect us, but if you're a store that's very heavy in back issues, I can see that being a problem. Again, especially for some of the books that put the issue number on the back. If you put it in a bag and a board, you can't see that.
Yeah.
That's going to be a problem.
I got to admit, that hasn't been a thing that's been brought up in any forum that I've been privy to. And I'm kind of surprised.
I wonder if it's because some stores now, because of computer inventory, are doing like barcode
individual
labels
barcoding
for the top.
and numbering of
That'll have the price, the title, the issue number. So it doesn't matter what's on the front cover. They already have it in the sticker on the front.
I can't imagine that many stores do it that way.
No. But I mean, I don't know if every store puts backer boards on it. If they don't, you flip the book over like, oh, it's issue 28.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird, and I don't envy companies trying to do something fun with the design and then getting the pushback of, this is not going to work in my store. When it's like, okay, but it works in 90% of stores. Do we have to not do it this way because 10% are like, you're costing me sales? How responsive do you have to be to that?
And we touched on this 2 weeks ago when we talked about DC's black label formats.
Yeah, same argument.
But would you ever have the audacity to tell a creator that they're doing it wrong?
No, although, I mean, there's been times where we've talked to publishers, and I think one of the things that we'd said to some image people a few years back was, hey, all this white on the covers, it's kind of blending in. It's not as dynamic as you think it is. Like, it was dynamic when, Hickman was the one guy doing it. Now, half of your books blend together on the rack because everyone's doing the Hickman design. Like, it's not cutting edge anymore, it's boring. So that wasn't like, you have to do it this way, right, or whatever. It was just saying, like, hey, this is not as effective as you think it is anymore from our perspective.
And that's honestly a perfect example of us doing that same thing of like, hey, this doesn't work for us, because at that point we had image set in one section, so they kind of blended in.
Pretty homogeneous at that point.
And honestly, it's a lot of creators were trying to do the next Hickman design, but you should be as unique as you can.
Yeah, it had become a little bit of a hostile for image in a way where it's like, hey, maybe we should push back on that a little bit and try and find some different visuals or different whatever. And
it all goes back to Barry Windsor Smith's Storyteller.
Sure.
Remember that it was just magazine size, wasn't it, or was it bigger? You should know. You had them.
It was taller than that. It was like Treasury size, but not as wide.
Okay. So 17 high, but not 11.
Yeah, probably a little bit less wide than that. Although maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
Or maybe like 10 by 15.
Something like that. Yeah. It was definitely bigger than magazine size because it needed its own slipcase.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing you could put it
in.
But that was smart, man. That was taking a problem and making it an advantage. Oh, you need somewhere to put these? Why don't we sell you a slipcase?
Yeah, exactly.
I bought it. Sure.
But I mean, I remember retailers back then, and this was like, what, 15, 20 years ago? More?
Sure.
20 years ago? I don't know.
Ish.
I feel like we still have that slipcase just sitting outside the back door.
We do.
On top of those Hardy Boy books.
Yeah, it came back with some stuff where I'm just like, I don't need this anymore.
Yeah, that's a good, a nice little showcase piece of what we're talking about.
Sure.
If anybody wants to see it, just ask us about it next time.
Maybe we should take a picture of it tomorrow, and that'll be on the image for the episode.
No, because it's going to be that Dark Knight cover.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I was tempted to actually use the comic that kicked this whole thing off, but I won't even mention what it was. It would be crude of me to do so.
Okay.
But it's just, we're not the creators. Like, looking above, right above the Dark Knight 3, is the Dark Knight Returns, The Last Crusade. And I literally had to put my glasses on because even though I'm, 4 or 5 feet away from it,
sure,
maybe 2 yards, I couldn't see it clearly.
Yeah.
Because it's so thinly written, and from across the store,
I don't know. I think it works okay on that cover because of it being on a red and white cover with like the white lightning bolts.
No, I'm going the one above it.
Oh, the one above it. I'm sorry.
Last
I thought you meant... Sorry, I misheard. Yeah, I think it works okay. I don't know. I think it works fine.
Well, sure, but just imagine being further back. I remember Eric Larson is always very vocal about
how far I am is how far somebody would be from the comic shelves
okay.
at the longest distance when
right,
you're actually
but now take your glasses
browsing
off, and how well does it work?
I would never do that. I would not even be able to see the comic rack. Honestly, all I ever, as a retailer and as a fan, ever want on the cover is put the title, put the creators, put the issue number, put the price. The barcode can be on the back, that's fine. And you can do it in whatever format or style you want. As long as all of that information is on the cover somewhere, I'm fine with it.
Yes, my big please never do this is don't put your barcode inside the front or back cover.
Yeah, and I don't love the issue number on the back. I think it's pretentious, and I don't think it really helps in any way. Like, it should be somewhere, if someone's looking at the front cover, they shouldn't have to pick it up to interrogate, like, what is this thing called? What issue number is it? Who's working on it? How much does it cost? Like, all that stuff kind of bothers me.
Understood.
Yeah. But
one size does not fit all.
Yeah, but at the same time, if a creator didn't want to do that for aesthetic reasons, I wouldn't say we're not going to carry that book. It would just be like, I don't think that's a great idea, but whatever, it's your book.
Yeah, and honestly, that's not our call to make.
Yeah.
And as you said before, if creators ever reach out and ask us specific questions, we'll say, yeah, yes or no.
Right.
Or, please don't make every book in your series the same size of a record album jacket sleeve.
There's a Steven Universe miniseries starting up called Harmony that is an 8x8 comic book.
Oh, we're not carrying that. That's a joke. That's a joke. We're only carrying it for club. That's not a joke. All right, so we're changing gears to what was a huge story last week, so much so that it broke on Sunday morning, and before you were even able to get to the store that day, I had bothered you about, like, hey, have you seen this kind of thing?
Because I didn't, because it was breaking on the Facebook forums, and I don't touch those. So while it hit the wider internet later in the day, you were like, hey, this is a thing that just happened. Oh my God. And
we had enough time to add it to last week's podcast, but we felt that we shouldn't because it's very spoilery, and it was too soon.
Yeah, and I'm glad we waited.
Yeah. And we'll talk about it now, but it does contain spoilers to Batman number 50. So if you have not read that and you haven't heard anything about it, you may want to stop here and
go read Batman, then come back.
Come back. So we're going to talk about not specifically just Batman 50, but the fact that the ending of that book was ruined by the New York Times in an article that came out Sunday morning. And we're used to that kind of thing happening on the Tuesday before books are released.
Yeah.
Usually Marvel and USA Today, or Marvel and Newsarama, or Marvel and any other
The View
source. Yeah, The View. They like doing that in an effort to raise awareness and get people excited for a book who may not be regular comic fans.
Real quick, I'm not crazy about it because I don't think it's super effective for one main reason. By the time Marvel or DC have hyped people up on the Tuesday before books coming out, it's usually too late for stores to do anything about it. We've already ordered. Books are either in our hands or on our way to our hands. Even if we placed a reorder to try and meet demand, A, might not be available anymore, B, stores probably aren't going to get it in until the weekend, at the earliest.
At the earliest.
If you do create a huge swell of people who are excited about this comic book, it doesn't do us that much good as if you would have done it 3 weeks ago or whatever. But I understand that that's not how publicity works. You're not able to say, like, hey, we're going to give you this huge scoop on a thing that's going to happen in a comic book in 3 weeks. Like, people will see a thing or hear a thing or read a thing, and they're going to want to go immediately get that experience.
Yeah, they're not going to remember 3 weeks from now, oh, that thing that people talked about came out. I should go get that
so I get
now
that,
at this point.
But it's, instead of, like, when something gets announced at San Diego and then people come to the store and go, oh my God, I want to get that, that means, oh, I as a store owner should order more. I should make sure I have plenty of copies of this. When something huge happens the Monday or Tuesday before books come out, it's like, that's going to help me sell out, but I already ordered to sell out, probably. It's not going to... It's going to make them sell faster, but it's not going to make them sell more.
And this may be overgeneralizing, but I feel like 80% of the people that come in because they've seen it in the news only want it because they've seen it in the news. They're not interested in reading this and following the story. They just want this thing they were told was a big deal.
Yeah, it's the Obama Spider-Man thing.
Yeah.
They want the one that Obama's in. They don't want the issue after that. Unless he teams up with Spider-Man every single month, they weren't going to care.
So a year ago, in our time, Bruce Wayne proposed to Selina Kyle.
Batman 24, that was a big surprise. That was one they didn't tell us ahead of time, and so people flipped out about it because he proposes to Catwoman at the end of the issue.
Yep.
That thing went to 4 printings, I think, or something.
Yeah.
That was a lot, and we were constantly selling out of those printings because people didn't know what it was, but they wanted the one where Batman proposes to Catwoman, and I think starting with the second printing, they put it right on the cover.
Yeah, the word balloon and everything.
Yeah.
Which immediately led into the War of Jokes and Riddles, which was a phenomenal story.
Yeah. But it was a very long flashback where it was Batman telling Catwoman the worst thing he's ever done to say, look, if you're going to marry me, you got to know this.
Sure.
And decide if you still want to marry me because of it.
But the point I was making was, after this big thing happened, an incredible story was told.
Yeah.
We've been waiting a year for this wedding, which has been built up little by little, and they did...
The last, basically, I want to say everything since War of Jokes and Riddles has been wedding build-up.
Yeah, like when they went to go tell Talia.
Yeah, and deal with the Holly Robinson stuff, and have the double date with Clark and Lois, and
which, gosh, such a great 2-part story. Man,
even the Ivy stuff was kind of, and the Wonder Woman 2-parter was building in this idea of their relationship being a more stable thing.
And then we had the 5-issue weekly Prelude to the Wedding, which focused on everybody else.
Yeah, all the stuff
the Bat family
that Tom King was not going to be able to get to within the context of the twice-monthly Batman comic. So we got to see how characters like Nightwing and Red Hood and Batgirl were, and even Robin were responding to what was going on in the main Batman book. And then some of the villains that were not really part of the main story, how they were affected by this wedding.
And DC's like, hey, retailers, if you want to do exclusive covers, we can do that.
And boy, did retailers.
A lot of retailers did exclusive covers. And one of the things now with exclusive covers is there are 3 different versions you can get for each cover. Now, sometimes, and I think it's more of a Marvel thing, you get to pick your artist, like say, oh, I want this person to do it. Sometimes they'll say, here are the covers that are done, what do you want?
Yeah, they've already commissioned a few different covers from their normal stable of artists, so they're ready to go.
Yeah, and there's...
Because generally, if you say, like, I want this guy to draw this book, great, that's going to take at least a week to get that thing drawn, if not longer, considering you might have to negotiate with them and they might have to find time in their schedule. So a publisher being able to say, we got 10 covers left, which of these do you want, is way faster.
And I don't think that they had store logos on the front.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but it's...
I don't think they do
it's
anymore.
It's the regular cover.
Maybe they put it on the back?
Maybe.
I don't think I've seen the back of any of these variants.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Although probably not, because it's whatever the ad is.
But maybe not. I mean, if it's a store exclusive cover, I mean, they've got the cover and the back cover on the same piece of printing. So you could just, since you have to replace the front, you could replace the back too. Anyway, I'm sorry.
So you have the regular cover, fully colored image, logo.
Your Joe Mad cover.
Right.
There it is.
But I mean, it's say Batman, DC Comics number 50, blah, blah. Then they'll do the Virgin cover, which is just the art, like we discussed before. And then they do a black and white cover, which is just the line art.
Yeah, and I think stores usually, I don't know if it's a DC decree or how DC suggested to stores, but they're usually done in like a more limited format.
Yeah, I believe it's like 3,000, 1,500, 1,000, or 500.
Yeah.
And weirdly, I've seen stores that were selling all 3 covers for the same price.
It depends on how much you think you can normally sell. Like,
sure.
If 5,000 is a reach for your store, you're going to take whatever you can get to move them as fast as you can.
Yeah.
But if you have 3,000 people who are buying these covers, you absolutely mark up that black and white. If it's a $5 comic book, a cover might be $5 to $8. The B Virgin cover might be $10. The C black and white cover might be $15 or $20.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen all 3 of them go for like $15 a piece at places.
Sure.
But I've not seen all of the covers. However, they will all be reprinted in the Wedding Trade paperback or hardcover collection.
It's an $18 hardcover.
And from what I saw, most stores did 3 covers, all 3 covers.
I guess, I mean, if you have to hit 5,000, and they're saying, look, we're going to break it down like this, 3,000, 1,500, 500, why would
but
you
I mean,
not do all
we
3?
don't know the rules, so we're just speculating.
Yeah. But like you said, if everyone's doing it, it's got to be the way they're suggesting you do it.
But I mean, I don't know who else did it, and I've not seen a lot of the covers. Some of them look great. I give you that. Big Bang had Jock do Batman pulling open his shirt to the back symbol, like the way they did their Superman, their Action 1000 cover was. So it's a great companion piece to it. Midnight release as well. Mm-hmm. DC sent out wedding invitations to stores.
Yeah.
A lot of stores...
With a little checklist on it.
Yeah. A lot of stores were going all out. And I mean cosplayers. DC made a Spotify wedding playlist to play in the store. More stores than I can count.
Yeah, what we didn't tell people is that we made sure that everybody who showed up to our midnight release got married to each other.
Yeah.
Not to individual people, but the whole group is now, one married couple.
Our version of matrimony, if you will.
Yeah. Yep, you're all married. Congratulations.
More stores than I can even count had actual weddings in the store.
I guarantee you there are enough Batman superfans out there that, contacted their stores and talked their significant other into, like, we should do our wedding when Batman's getting married. One
store, and I don't remember which store, they made the dress.
Oof.
The Joel design dress.
Wow.
And the Batman was in the tuxedo with the bat mask, like the cover. I mean, stores went all out.
Sure. DC made it a very big deal. This was not just a thing where stores are like, hey, this sounds like it's going to be really fun. This was DC making it a huge promotional push, which, as we'll get into, is an important distinction.
Yes. And currently, I love Batman.
It's great, right?
It's maybe the best Batman has ever been.
48 sort of sucked, but man, the rest of them have been great.
I wouldn't say sucked.
It sucked.
Oh, come on.
There's been 2, not to get off on a tangent, but there have been 2, to my mind, kind of bum issues in the whole run. The first was in the I Am Gotham arc.
Okay.
Because there's a big story beat that happens off panel, and I just felt for pacing reasons, I'm like, why would you do that? Why do I have to get told this huge thing happened when you should have shown it on page?
You can say what it was, because that was years ago.
Somebody murders somebody else? I remember being angry about it more than I remember the specific
I got you. I thought you were trying to protect people.
Because in the interim, there have been 45 issues of Batman that have taken up space in my brain. So that thing I was mad about was, like, the month it came out, I was like, God damn it. Why? Like, I was into this book, despite David Finch drawing it, and, like, it's hard to defend this story now, because you kind of skipped a big part of it, and I don't know why you would do that. But since then, obviously, I enjoy the book a lot, no big deal, but issue 48 is the first of the Joker two-parter, and I remember talking to another retailer the night it came out, and we were both of the mind that it wasn't Bruce Wayne under the Batman cowl.
Yeah, that's what you and I were talking
because
about.
Everything he does in 48 is so out of character that it's either A, not Bruce Wayne, or B, he's got like a concussion or something.
Yeah.
Because the things he's doing in that story make zero sense. Like, I can see how it makes like a lyrical kind of sense in the story that Tom King's trying to tell with the Joker, but it fails on a basic Batman wouldn't do that kind of level. And I don't ever like saying that about fictional characters, but it was a difficult issue to get past because it's just like, you have to allow for a character acting almost completely out of character to tell the story you're trying to tell it.
And then you wait for 49, waiting for the payoff, like...
And honestly, I thought 49
Avengers
worked.
4.
I thought 49, the Catwoman Joker part of the story, is really, really good. I thought the characters were very much in character. But it doesn't make up for the Batman part, kind of 95% not working. So that's why I'd say that one sucked.
Okay.
But anyway, the rest of it's great. And it didn't dampen my enthusiasm for 50, and we got a promo PDF of 50, and loved it.
Yeah.
Thought it was great.
Yeah.
Like, I think you liked it more than I did, but I still thought it was great.
There's some questionable pinups,
yeah.
And having read it in a PDF is always a disservice to it, especially that double-page spread where they each come...
But really, there's only
middle.
one. There's only one section of the book where it's like, oh, this didn't work as a PDF. Everything else he's thinking in units of one page, especially with all those pinups. So reading it was, for someone who doesn't usually like reading PDFs of DC and Marvel stuff because of the way they're formatted, I thought it worked really well as a PDF.
Yeah.
I think it'll work for people on their iPads, you know?
Just FYI, I've read 51 and 52.
Yeah.
Very good.
Do they work as PDFs? Because I didn't download them yet for that reason.
The 50... First of all, it says 50 and 51, but 50 is actually 52, and 51 is proper.
Okay.
And 52 is only black and white.
Okay.
Which, I mean, it's 3 weeks. It's great.
Yeah, it's going to look great.
Yeah. No, they work. There's only like one double page spread out of both of them.
Then I'll grab those.
But it's full of squiggly lines and things across it.
Watermarks,
Yeah, but still really well done.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So, I don't know the best way to say this, but the New York Times article was
which
in their
wedding section, because they'd previously done, the New York Times had done a thing with Marvel for X-Men Gold number 30.
Yeah.
Which was their wedding issue. So DC's like, hey, we want to do our own wedding issue thing, like in the wedding announcements, like make it kooky.
Was it DC's idea, or was it the New York Times idea?
What I'd read, it was DC's idea.
Okay.
DC approached the same person who'd done the X-Men Gold thing.
They've got a specific dedicated comics writer, but they put it in the vows section to be cute.
Yeah. Which is someone who, A, doesn't read the New York Times, B, would never read the vows section. This was all fairly new to me. But...
Right. So, which is, like, almost by that very nature, it should have been under the radar, except that, and here's, honest to God, here's the real spoiler part of this whole thing.
Yeah, crux of the problem.
We're going to give you time to
bail out if you
stop listening.
If you don't read Batman 50 for the next, 6 months or whatever.
The headline tells you outright that they do not get married.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Was it "It's not going to happen, Batman," or "It didn't happen," or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Like the headline left no confusion. Like you read that headline and you went, "Oh, she doesn't marry him."
Leading up in the story, they've been giving you the information that's going to happen, repeatedly telling you that can Bruce Wayne be Batman if he's happy?
Yeah.
Batman has to be tortured.
Yeah, and Tom King takes something he'd said in interviews before and puts it into Catwoman's mouth in Batman 50. Batman is an engine that turns pain into hope. What happens when you put happiness into that engine? Then what happens? Like, the engine doesn't work.
And even in Twitter posts leading up to it, DC would say things like, Batman 50, they get ready for the wedding. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't get married, they get ready. I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, the phrasing of that, which I called out in the store leading up to it.
Yeah, and the Batman 51 and 52 solicits, like, they put a thing in the 51 solicit where it's like, the honeymoon's over. But the storyline is Bruce Wayne is on a jury in, like, a Mr. Freeze lawsuit case or something. And Dick Grayson is Batman in Gotham City. No mention of Catwoman at all.
And in the solicits for Catwoman, including Catwoman number 1, it's the night of the wedding.
Yeah.
And Selina finds a copycat and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, no mention of Batman in the Catwoman arc, no mention of Catwoman in the Batman arc.
And on the cover of Catwoman 1, they put a word balloon on it where she's saying, I do or I don't. Read Batman 50 before you read this issue. So they're already kind of teasing the idea of maybe they don't get married, which, I mean, is a fun way to kind of build in, a little bit of suspense. But I didn't think for a second they weren't going to get married. You had thought of it, and you had mentioned it specifically because of the Joker dialogue in issue 49. But I genuinely, while I entertained the idea of, like, that's a possibility, I didn't think they were going to do it. I thought for sure they were going to get married.
Yeah, leading up to it, I thought they'd get married, and by issue 100, they get divorced.
Sure, you can divorce Catwoman and Batman, especially because the way they were doing it, Bruce Wayne was not marrying Selina Kyle.
Right.
Batman was marrying Catwoman. So how legal that is and how difficult that is for them to break up, whatever.
I will say, I firmly believe they're still going to get married.
Yeah.
But it's going to be like the proposal. Well, it's going to be dropped in a story out of nowhere.
I'd love it if it were issue 51. Just to screw with people. Issue 51, like, she just... you're shaking your head, and I know that it's not.
Well, okay.
And they would never do that, but I mean, as a joke.
Yeah.
I would love it if, like, people get, like, so burned up, like, I can't believe they didn't get married in 50, and he just sneaks it in, like, nope, 51, there you go.
Captain America has been Hydra all along. I don't believe it. Issue 2, here's what's going on.
Yeah. But no one's going to read that. Yeah, it's...
So, from a storyline point of view...
Yeah. Oh, and Tom King has said, like, this is a 100-issue story about Batman and Catwoman.
Yeah.
We are at the middle point.
Yeah, and as I pointed out, from 24 was this big bombshell, 25 starts a great story.
Yeah.
And even 50, where they do not get married, still a great issue.
Sure.
And why they don't
On a
get
craft
married.
level, it's great.
Oh, yeah. And why they don't get married makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it doesn't come out of nowhere. It's not like she suddenly like gets cold feet and like, I don't want to marry you, Colossus, or whatever.
It's not like she was banging Nightwing.
Right, exactly. That we know of.
What? Wait a minute. Now he's Batman. Hold on. Let me look at him in a different light.
But here's the problem.
That's crude, and I apologize.
So when Patrick told me about this, because it had broken on the New York Times, before we even talked about kind of how the retail community was taking it, I could sort of imagine how they were taking it because I knew how I was taking it, which is, it's not about whether or not the issue is good or not. DC was not promoting there is a good issue of Batman coming out. They were promoting Batman marries Catwoman. Now, they can prevaricate all they want about it.
Ooh,
they can
nice
say,
word.
We didn't say they were going to get married. We said there'd be a wedding, which technically there was not a wedding because she didn't show up. But they promoted and had us promote Batman is marrying Catwoman. They are getting married. So it doesn't matter whether or not the issue was good. It matters that we promoted something that did not happen. We bought into something that was not the thing they gave us. If you're selling the death of Superman, you can't have the final page of the last part of the storyline be Superman's fine. He didn't die. You have to deliver on that, or all of the thing that we're promoting to, let's be fair here, an audience that doesn't read Batman comics or know how this story built up and will not be reading future issues of it, will not go to the store to buy it. You're selling it to people who are already buying Batman comics. And while there's a lot of them, there's exponentially more people who don't buy Batman comics that you could have theoretically sold this to.
Yeah.
And what a lot of stores ordered was for that audience that now have been told, this is a comic where Batman doesn't get married. Guess what? Comics every month where Batman doesn't get married. Not a special thing.
And this is a quote that I attribute to you. They gave us a great issue of Batman. They sold us a capital E event.
Yeah.
They sold us an event story, an event book. This wasn't an event book.
No. It's very, very good. And it's I would go so far as to say it was great. I thought they, again, on a craft level, absolutely delivered. You got at least your $5 worth, if not more. But that doesn't matter to people who only want the comic where Catwoman gets proposed to or Batman gets married. If you don't put that stuff in there, it doesn't matter how good it is. Like, Marvel, when we were talking about this Sunday, I had said to you, Marvel did it right. Because while they didn't get Kitty Pryde and Colossus married, they gave you a marriage.
They gave you an X-wedding.
Somebody got married.
X-Mans got married.
Yeah. Gambit and Rogue got married. So even if you felt like, oh man, I was buying this because I thought 2 X-Men were going to get married, 2 X-Men did get married, just not the ones you expected.
Yeah.
So, but DC didn't do that. It's just a really
also,
good...
my money was really on Doug, Ramsey, and Warlock. It didn't happen.
Doug Ramsey's not in great shape right now. I don't think he's...
I know.
Warlock can do better, believe me. Self-friend. What DC didn't give you in the Batman 50 issue is an event. Nothing happened in it. Like, it's a good issue. It's a very good story. It's a great middle chapter of the 100-part epic.
Dick Grayson didn't marry Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, like, there isn't a huge... Like, even the last page where you find out kind of the villain of the story, it's not a big enough deal. It's not a thing where people are going to be like, holy shit, I gotta buy that for that. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's a great story twist.
Yeah, it's a good reveal, and it's definitely left a few pretty big questions that they'll need to answer, because there's people in the villain group where you're like, how?
Yeah.
How is that person part of this group?
Yep.
Which obviously is a very long story they'll continue to tell. So yeah, like, that was definitely, like, I got why people who'd spent thousands of dollars buying variant covers, commissioning variant covers, doing stuff in their stores to promote this, find out on Sunday the thing you're promoting is not happening. And everybody knows it now. Now, to be fair, not everybody knew. There's some fans who studiously avoided spoilers. Even when they knew that the word was getting out, they're like, I don't want to know anything about it until the book
I've
comes
talked
out.
to a lot of people since Wednesday who legitimately don't know, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah. So this, while this was a thing in the New York Times, and it definitely got a lot of coverage on comic sites and comics-adjacent nerd sites, this was not a thing that was like, there wasn't skywriting about it. It wasn't covered on every nightly news right at 10 o'clock. Like, it was a thing that we knew about and everybody in our circle seemed to know about, but it wasn't, it didn't get out there that much. But the problem is what also didn't get out there was news coverage of, hey, there's a comic where Batman marries Catwoman and it came out today. Because Batman didn't marry Catwoman. So
right.
No one's going to cover...
Yeah.
it's great that you got the New York Times to write it up and be the center of this shitstorm, but it wasn't like, the Washington Post was going to say, like, oh, let's cover this wedding that didn't happen. They didn't, at least to my knowledge.
One of the weirder parts of all this is how I found out about the article.
Mm-hmm.
It's because DC posted it.
Yeah, DC, the way that you'd phrased it to me was that DC seemed very excited about the coverage they got in the New York Times before the entire retail community decided that they wanted heads to roll and people to lose their jobs, I guess. Which seemed...
And that's literally a thing. People think, somebody from DC's marketing or sales is going to get fired. I don't think so.
I was talking to a fan about this on, I think, Sunday or Monday. Sunday, I think. Because that was when it had really broken. And they'd asked me if I thought that someone was going to get fired for it, and I said no, because in order to get coverage like that, it has to be approved so high up. And the whole idea of Batman 50 not featuring a wedding at its center has to be known by such high-level people. And those people are the ones that aren't going to lose their job. John Cunningham's not going to get fired for this. No, absolutely not. So no, and you're not going to fire... someone on the sales team because this wasn't their call. So no one at DC is going to lose their job over this. Nor should they.
And this outcome was known well over a year ago.
Yeah, this wasn't a thing. I can't imagine that Tom King was like, well, I was writing 50, I realized they shouldn't get married. Like, clearly he would know. Clearly the editorial staff would know. Which means, since this is a huge book releasing in July, people much higher up than his editor have to okay this and be all right with it and know that this is what's happening with the story. And then everyone on the sales and marketing team has to know that this is what's going to be in issue 50.
I just don't understand why DC would let retailers go all in knowing this is the outcome.
Well, I guess that gets into kind of the next phase of this discussion. I don't know for sure how stores did with the book. We didn't go in very heavy on it relative to stores that commission 5,000 variant covers. We ordered high, higher than our normal Batman numbers. And certainly with the 3 regular covers and blank cover, we got more than we normally would have for issue 49 or 51.
Yeah, but we didn't double our numbers.
No, I don't think so.
No.
But we ordered, higher.
Yeah, significantly higher, but not 100% higher.
And it sold, through 2 days after release, it sold really well. Like, if we're not out of the regular cover, we will be soon.
We have about 5 regular covers left and 16 or 14 Art Adams covers.
Which is the one no one cared about.
Yeah, honestly, retailers are dumping all over that cover.
I thought it looked good, but I'm an Art Adams guy, so I don't know. I'm pretty biased when it comes to that.
Well, it was supposed to be a different artist who backed out or something
Olivia
happened.
Coipel.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But it didn't happen for whatever reason. Too busy with that Netflix money. But I like it. I think it's a good cover. But certainly the Jim Lee cover sold out almost immediately for us, and the Mikkel Yennin cover is going to be out pretty soon. So I look at it as a sales success. We ordered high, and we won't have it forever. We have enough copies to probably last us another week or two. You had said DC still has copies in stock at Diamond, so if we need to reorder on Sunday, we will.
I think they're going to sell out. So
if I'm DC, they thought it was going to be a success. They didn't think it was going to be a big deal that they don't get married. Agree or disagree. At this point, I would probably agree with them based on our sales. We ordered like we wanted to have it for a few weeks, and we'll have it for a few weeks. We're selling as fast as we wanted to sell of it.
Yeah.
So great,
But, as we said before, we did not go all in.
Yeah, so I'm curious.
We did not. We talked to Joelle to have her come out for Catwoman, but even so, that was for Catwoman.
Yeah.
We didn't do cosplayers or weddings, and honestly, we've tapered off of that for midnight releases because we don't need to.
Yeah, we've tried to do like fun and game stuff, and we've done things where like if it's on sale at midnight, we'll be open at 11, and we'll play episodes of stuff or whatever. And it's just like people just want to buy the books.
Yeah,
so at this
who
point,
wants to wait around before they can do it?
We open up at 11:59. People grab their stuff. They come up to the counter. They buy it. 45 minutes later, we're going home.
Yeah, we always say we'll stay as long as people are coming in. We were out of there in 45 minutes.
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen, because that's what happened the last few times that we've done midnight releases for DC and Marvel stuff. And
this midnight release did really well, but that's because we were able to sell everything from every publisher.
Yeah, honestly, though, people were there for the DC stuff. They bought other things because it was available, but, having all of the stuff available, I think if we'd only had the DC stuff, we would have seen as many people there.
I think some of the club members would not have come in.
That's true. Or at least some of them wouldn't have, because they don't want to make 2 trips, especially on a holiday. But there's a few club members...
And I think the fact that it was a holiday helped.
Yeah, for sure.
People were off the next day, so they could,
Yeah, it's very easy to justify going out to the store because you don't have to get up at 7 a.m. the next morning. One of the things I was concerned about, though, when DC had announced, the New York Times coverage and people were, the sky was falling, was I realized that one of the bigger problems isn't necessarily, people didn't come in to buy Batman 50 because a wedding doesn't happen. It's also because they didn't come in to buy Batman 50, they also didn't buy Catwoman 1. That was a book that we ordered, thinking, okay, everyone who buys Batman 50 is going to want to read the Catwoman book because it's the night of the wedding. It's also a completely different story now, so I don't know how much that matters to people.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but did you cut our number ones, or you just spread it out over the 2 covers?
I spread it out over the 2 covers, because I'm like, I think people are going to want this Archer cover a lot.
And also, we have a lot of Joelle Jones fans, thanks to Helheim, but especially thanks to Lady Killer.
Yeah.
And if you like Lady
honestly,
Killer,
thanks to Batman. Let's be honest here.
But I mean, if you like her from Lady Killer, Catwoman's perfect.
For sure. Yeah, it looks just like Lady Killer. She got Laura Allred to do the colors again, so it's like, it looks like Lady Killer if you like that book.
And I liked it. It's good. It's worth it.
But, I mean, that was definitely like a casualty of people who were coming in to just buy Batman 50. It's very easy to also sell them Catwoman 1. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think DC would do a Catwoman book if there wasn't more that's going to be happening with Catwoman in Batman down the line. I don't think...
Down the line, for sure.
I don't think that the strength of... Like, let's say she is out of Batman entirely. Mm-hmm. I don't think this book has the strength to keep going.
Well, that's the thing. It makes me wonder kind of what the long-term plan for Catwoman is, because DC's done a variety of Catwoman ongoings before.
Yeah.
So it's not weird for them to spin Catwoman off into her own solo series. But I remember when they announced it, and it was announced that Joelle was going to be writing and drawing it, I thought, that's bold for an ongoing series, because Joelle's incredibly talented, but that talent comes at a cost, and that cost is the books don't come out that often. Like, Lady Killer took a while, and, her Batman stuff was not every single month,
Yeah.
There were issues... But those issues would have breaks, and there'd be another artist while she got up to speed on the next chapter of her story.
But at the same time, she knew about Catwoman at C2E2 2017.
Well, so what makes me wonder is, if we take Tom King at his word, and we're halfway through a story featuring Batman and Catwoman, his story's gonna be done in 2 years.
Yeah.
At some point, Catwoman has to come back into Batman.
Sure.
There has to be her appearance in that book.
She can do both.
Well, what makes me wonder is, maybe the plan on this is not indefinite ongoing series.
Right. No, I think that's a good guess, too.
Maybe if you look at how much Joelle can turn out in a story and how quickly she would need to hand the art reins off to someone else to keep it on a monthly basis, maybe this isn't an indefinite ongoing series. Maybe this is like an 8-issue run, Maybe this is a storyline, and then 16 issues of Batman will have passed, and Catwoman can show back up.
Yeah, well, I mean, time will tell.
That's how I would imagine things happening. I would not be surprised if this is a thing where in 6 months DC's like, yeah, we always plan on this thing ending at 8. Or 10 or 12 or whatever.
Hate for the non-wedding to damage the potential sales for Catwoman, because I think Catwoman deserves the opportunity to survive. I think people should pick it up, is what I'm trying to say.
And most of the people who are picking up Batman 50 were picking up Catwoman 1 as well. I think it absolutely is hurting the success of it, because I think the sales could have been higher if people came in for a wedding issue and then bought, the book where she's married to Batman now.
Yeah.
But, again, it being a good book is not sufficient for a casual audience. It's got to be more than that. It's got to be an event.
So stepping back for a minute, do you think that DC should not have let retailers do exclusive covers when they're a publisher? It is their job to publish comics, and they sold a ton of extra comics this month because of that.
Sure. Well, they had 2 ways they could go with it, beyond the way that they went with it. They could have, A, not made it an event. Just let Tom King tell his Tom King story. If people aren't expecting a wedding, it doesn't matter if there isn't one in an issue.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Or if So if retailers got away from themselves and ordered a ton of copies of 50 because they had convinced themselves it was going to be an important issue, that's on them. You know? DC promoted it as a wedding, which means we all thought we were stocking a wedding issue that was not a wedding issue. That they don't get married.
Yeah.
There's no wedding. So they could have, not promoted it. Or if they're going to promote it, again, I gotta say it like the X-Men Gold thing. Give us something.
Yeah.
Like, beyond a good story, give us something where we can point to this and go, oh, this is the one where whatever.
How angry do you think retailers are going to be if there's a clandestine wedding later in Batman?
Retailers would have deserved it at that point.
I was going to say, if there's anything the first part of this podcast told us, is that retailers are going to be angry no matter what.
I mean, look at Cap 25, Nobody knew that was going to be the death of Captain America. You get that issue, like, holy crap, it's the death of Captain America.
Yeah.
Huge deal. They did it the right way. I mean, at the same time, like, it would be nice to know ahead of time, but...
But how many times have they cried wolf?
Well, how many times has the retail community screwed it up? They can't tell us. The best way they could have handled this, literally the best way they could have handled it, would have been, we're going to promote this thing as a wedding, but there's a twist, they don't get married. But they can't tell retailers that, because it would be on Bleeding Cool in 5 minutes.
Not only can they not trust retailers with this, John Cunningham had to come out and say to retailers, look, here's why we went ahead with this promotion in the New York Times, here's why we think it's a good thing, and somebody screen capped that and sent that to news sites.
Yeah.
So not only did they get what was said, but like actually exactly how it was enumerated and printed out. And
which is, I don't know if it's ironic or not, but it's incredibly stupid, because part of the DC reasoning is, we need to spoil this in the New York Times, maybe not in the headline, but we need to get in front of this story beat, because as soon as you guys get your books on Monday, which some retailers get them on Monday, you're going to tell Bleeding Cool, this is the end of the story. Here's the last page of the book where they don't get married. So at least this way we control the narrative.
Now, Rich says he doesn't spoil books.
What does he do, Patrick?
He would never do that.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what he said.
Okay. Does he do that, though?
I don't know. I don't go there to find out.
My understanding is that he does. I don't know if it's an every week thing, or maybe people do it on the forums.
But it would definitely get out places.
Yeah.
People would put it on their own pages or whatever. And this isn't a private retailer group where you're just proving you can't be trusted.
Right. That's the whole point, is that this happened this way because DC can't trust you. So you take a screen cap of a private forum where DC's giving you, like, crucial, confidential information, and you're blabbing it to everyone. Why would they tell you anything crucial or confidential ever again?
Yeah.
You've just proven in the stupidest way possible you are not responsible enough to handle it. There you go.
So, looking at it after a couple days have passed, the majority of the stories I'm seeing online, and honestly, I got to tell you that Facebook was a little bit tedious the last couple days, because it's all either retailers saying how great their midnight opening was, look at all these photos, and we never post photos to the Comics Pro board about, not the board, but the message board, as I like to call it, about the great things we've done. But I understand people doing that. That's fine. But my feed was filled with just that, or fireworks, or parades. And I didn't care about any of that.
Stores did parades for this? Amazing.
It's amazing.
God, we should have done that.
And
Western Avenue was dead at that time of night.
The majority of the reports have been huge success.
Yeah.
Now people are shitting all over Marvel, saying Captain America's not selling well, and no one cares about Tony Stark, and this Thor's not doing well, or Avengers aren't. All these are duds.
I'd say the Thor one is probably on the money.
Yeah.
I know plenty of fans who, as soon as Jane Foster wasn't Thor, spoiler, they were not interested. They're not interested in the adventures of Boy Thor at all. And I think the story's good.
Yeah.
The problem is it's the third act. So for people who are like, could I get into this? Like, if I haven't read the other ones? No. Most of it, you won't understand what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, but I've been reading it this entire time.
Yeah, so much of issue 2, I had to remind myself, I'm like, what's going on? Oh, right. That's where Baldur the Brave has been.
What is this war?
What
is it? Yeah, he's the new Guardian of Hell.
Right, but I'd sort of forgot about that, because it hasn't been a main part of the story in a while.
Sure. But I just love how it's like, DC, you're killing us, and it's ruined us. Oh my god, it's so great, this is the best thing ever. Marvel, you're killing us.
Sure.
Like, it's a non-stop blame cycle.
If I were DC or Marvel, I don't know how much I would ever seriously consider what the retail community was telling me. Which, you were on the board, so I don't want to gainsay too much about it, but Comics Pro as an idea, I just feel like this industry is not ready for it yet. Because the retail community is so immature and irresponsible that you can't take what they say that seriously because of this week. Just look at look at this week from Sunday to Friday. Tell me why, if I'm Marvel or DC, I put that much stock into what retailers have to say. Retailers who on Sunday were like, you got to make this book returnable, and DC's like, why don't you try and sell it first? Don't tell us on Sunday, 3 days before the book is on the stands, that you can't sell any. You're right, you can't sell any. You haven't even received it yet. Try and spend one day actually seeing if you have customers for it.
Yep.
Then we'll talk about returnability. And guess what? You sold your copies.
And then DC offered a very generous compensation, I thought.
Yeah, if you as a store spent money promoting this event and you feel like you got burned on it, like I said before, you were promoting an event, they didn't give you an event. What DC said was, we'll pay for it. If you have co-op credit, and usually it's 50%, like basically you have credit that you build up through buying stuff from Diamond, DC Comics and Diamond,
sales.
And that money sits in a little bank and you can draw from it to promote DC products and events. But how it works is DC will pay half of it, you'll pay half of it. So if you
advertise at a movie theater,
take out an ad in the Tribune that says Batman's getting married, we're doing a midnight release for it, and it costs you $1,000. If you have $500 in DC co-op credit, DC will pay $500 of that bill. You submit it, they cut you a check. What DC said was, look, if you feel like you got burned on that ad, up to, as long as the ad was placed before July 3rd, we'll pay the whole thing. You spend $1,000 on that ad, we'll pay the whole $1,000. Which is great. So, like, what did it... If no one turns up for this thing that you advertise, you didn't pay for the advertising.
And that goes as far as, did you buy cupcakes for your event? They'll pay for the cupcakes.
Yeah.
Did you paying for cosplayers? We'll pay for the cosplayers.
Do you have, like, a wedding DJ here for the event, for your midnight release that you think no one's going to sign up for? Great. We paid for it. We paid for that wedding DJ. We almost decided, like, between 7 p.m. and midnight on Tuesday, we were almost like, should we just go get cupcakes now? If DC's going to pay for it.
Right.
But it was too hot out, and I didn't want to deal with, like, cupcakes and frosting and all that stuff.
And we were legitimately only doing it because we knew that they'd pay us back.
It's free at that point.
And honestly, like, we made flyers. We did stuff. We spent money promoting our midnight release. We're not going to submit anything.
No, I joked that, like, should we give DC that $15 FedEx
bill?
receipt?
Yeah. Sure. We could, though.
We could.
That's what they're offering, which I think is generous.
Yeah, but...
That being said, we didn't spend $15,000 or $12.50 on variant covers.
Sure, but that's not what they're... I mean, that's a different conversation. That, again, I don't know how the variant covers are selling. If you ordered 5,000 and that was a reach for you and you feel like that's not going to happen, like you don't have customers for those books anymore, that's a different discussion to have with DC. And I think more than anything... Getting back to what you said, it's like crying wolf. Like, there have been times where Marvel has told us, or creators at Marvel have said, stock a lot of this book, it's super important, and then we get it and we're like, nothing happens in it, and no one cares.
No, it's going to break the internet.
So the next time it's like, I don't know that I'm going to bet hard on this book. If I'm someone who spent a disgusting amount of money on variant covers for Batman 50, first of all, I might not have money for more variant covers in the next few months. But secondly, maybe I think long and hard about how much audience there is for this book, and I think about it in terms of, okay, what if, instead of thinking about it in the high end of it, think about it in the low end. Can I clear the low end? If I can't clear the low end, maybe I don't bet on this book, because it is a gamble. You don't know for sure that you've got 5,000 people that are going to buy Batman 50 in your special cover. So you really got to think about it like, okay, can I afford to do this if only 2,000 people buy it?
Yeah.
Or 1,000? What is the threshold where I'm guaranteed X amount of people are going to buy it? So that if none of the rest sell for any money, I'm literally just taking the rest of them, throwing them in a dumpster out back, I don't lose my shirt. Like, if stores are grabbing at their chests because they are terrified at how much money they've tied up in these books, maybe they shouldn't have tied up that money in those books in the first place. Maybe they shouldn't have gambled that much money on those comic books.
No, that's true, but I mean, we've done dumb things.
Sure, but they're dumb things. And I think we can look back at them and go, that was money we shouldn't have risked on that book. That book did not deliver. To say that it's completely the publisher's fault for not making a better product that I could have sold more of, or done it in a way where more customers would have come into my store, yeah, but you share the blame too, The stores that are like, I want to take these 5,000 copies that are in cases, I don't even want to crack the tape on them, I just want you to give me all my money back for them. Like, you're involved in this too. DC didn't twist your arm, they didn't hold your kids at gunpoint and make you spend all this money. you decided you wanted to do this to make money, and you risked, how much money you spent on these books.
Yeah.
Don't try to be Midtown if you're not Midtown. I don't know, man. Lesson learned. I hope it didn't put anybody out of business, though. That was the thing I was afraid of on Sunday. Like, if this thing really tanked, if nobody cared about this book after the New York Times article, it would suck if, a store got excited about this, got really happy about what DC was doing, found themselves with 4,995 comics they couldn't sell, and went out of business. Like, that would suck. I don't wish that on anybody.
Agreed.
But yeah, a few different people made mistakes in this scenario, not just DC Comics.
Well, I think the biggest mistake was made by Catwoman. What was she thinking?
Well, we'll find out. Maybe she reconsiders.
Maybe.
I had said, though, that what I was hoping going forward was that now that Catwoman has seriously hurt Batman in a way that no villain really ever has, that a variety of villains would try Catwoman's strategy and just get Batman to propose to them, and then individually they'd all break his heart and just get that revenge on Batman.
You had a different scenario in which, because nobody was there to see it happen,
Yeah, that's right.
Bruce just told everyone, "Yeah, we're married.
Yeah.
Oh, she's out fighting crime right now.
Yeah, exactly.
She's not here."
It's his girlfriend from Canada. You don't know her. She's busy right now.
They're very much in love.
Here, I will call her right now, and you can... Oh, I went to voicemail. She must be fighting Kite Man or something. I will tell her that you were asking about her. Yes, hello, this is Catwoman. That's my Bruce Wayne pretending to be Catwoman, by the way.
That's very good.
Yeah. He knows how to do everything. I'm sure he could pretend to be Catwoman on the phone to Green Lantern or whatever. Like, so Green Lantern, the dumbest Justice League member, can be like, yeah, oh my god, I talked to Catwoman. Like, she's totally married to Batman. You guys are all crazy for thinking that she's not.
But also, I kind of think she's into me.
Uh-huh.
Oh, good times. So, hey,
For the record, I am going to go on... That is out there. You can debate me if you want. Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, the dumbest Justice League member. There it is.
Ever, or of the current lineup? Because the current lineup is pretty
Technically,
deep.
He's not in the current lineup.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But he is... Of the... Yeah, I mean, not ever. There's definitely been way dumber members.
Booster Gold?
But in your... Yeah, Booster is the most dangerous member of the Justice League based on Batman stories. Did you hear what they're calling that storyline, like the alternate reality they've created?
Booster Point?
Bat Point.
Oh, Bat Point.
Bat Point is the reality where Batman's parents aren't killed, and that's that reality.
Okay.
But no, Hal Jordan, absolutely one of the dumbest Justice League members for sure.
But he's so earnest.
Oh, he's got a lot of positive qualities for sure, but
willpower.
Not
a lot of willpower.
Not smart. Not a smart man compared to the Justice League.
All right, so before Dal alienates any other superhero fans out there,
I'll risk it. I grew up with Kyle Rayner. What do you want from me? First Hal Jordan story I probably read was like Emerald Dawn, which is a good story, but it doesn't paint Hal Jordan in the best light.
Nope. Well, I guess before we segue over to The Flash, thanks for listening.
And keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.